China has supported a lot of infrastructure and development projects in Africa, more than any European country or Western country. And how dare you come from a high moral ground to question us. What Europe has done is to steal from our people, steal our resources. But China was there to say, we want to engage in an equal trade relationship between the two of us, and we are willing to place the resources at your disposal to support infrastructural development in your own countries. South Africa is currently battling with energy crisis today.
Yes.
It was China that pledged resources to say, we want to support your infrastructural development insofar as energy is concerned, and we're willing to place resources at your disposal. Did America do that? No. Did Europe do that? No. But China is willing to say, we do not only strengthen our trade relations, when you are in crisis, we'll place resources at your disposal and say, we'll have the infrastructural development that would enable you to generate your own energy as a nation. Those, it's a relationship of equal footing, mutual benefit.
Since you already talked about this Belt and Road Initiative, how China is building infrastructure in Africa, we see there are a lot of criticism. What do you think about that?
I'm not an expert on Chinese foreign policy.
Yes.
But I know for sure Chinese foreign policy emphasizes on respecting the sovereignty of other nations, respecting the decision that that nation takes on the domestic affairs. China does not interfere. Those who argue along those lines, they must actually look at I don't think they have a high moral ground even. It was the slaves that built America.
Yeah.
It was the resources from Africa that built the UK, that built France, Belgium, Portugal, and many other colonial powers. So now, when we strengthen our relations to the countries that stood with us when we were in crisis, a lot of those so-called nations that are advancing the so-called democracy are now saying, no, how come you support regimes such as China that does not respect human rights and so on and so forth? We look back and say, the US went to the same country that identified Mandela as a terrorist, put a terrorist number one in your list of terrorists in the world. And then how dare you come from a high moral ground to question us when we stand ground with those that stood with us when we were in crisis. What I want to focus on is the importance of the BRIC nation, in particular to the economies of the developing nations, especially when the world is moving towards a direction where we recognize as the third world countries that, in fact, something that we have already known, that the first world countries do not have our best interests at heart. So the one way in which we can steer developing nations towards a more economic and developmental trajectory is if we come together, because we have shared realities. Poverty in South Africa is similar to poverty in Brazil, similar to poverty in India and other BRICS nations.